All right, guys, welcome back. You are in part 2 of Moving the Needle. We are doing our after action review of the Moving the Needle podcast with Mark and Crystal Hansen. And I want to say, once again, a lot of fun pieces of information. I mean, when you really start to dig deep, when you look at how people are successful, when people achieve that elite performance, those needle movers out there, you know, there's all kinds of tidbits. And I tell you what, the thread is the same. They approach it differently. They may see things a little differently, but the path to get there is almost always the same. And one of the key things I picked up right out of the beginning, you guys might have heard the story, but the underlying theme that I heard is this life is short. Have fun in life. Look for these moments that you can have a good time. I love this story of how when they went to the restaurant and they're trying to get a table and they come up and Mark was trying to be funny when they were trying to get a table, and he said to the guy, yeah, don't you know who she is? Because the guy was like, oh, I feel like you look familiar. You know, she's this beautiful blonde. And Mark's like, yeah, she's the Queen of Denmark. And the guy like believes him. And they just wrote it. But these are moments like this where you can just have some fun in life. I mean, it's not hurting anyone. And hell, at that point, you're now able to tell everyone that you're royalty. So lighten up, have a little fun in life, recognize life is way too short. And I tell you what, those moments when you're at home with your spouse and you're like, Your Majesty, you know, those are the moments that make life fun and worth living. You know, don't be so serious all the time. So lighten up, Francis. All right, now I want to talk about how we build those teams. You know, when Mark talked about his relationship with Crystal, it's the same way that I talk about my relationship with the long-haired admiral. You know, you want to choose wisely in this life, and you have to be incredibly deliberate in building your team. You want to build incredibly positive people around you. You want to raise your kids to be positive. And most importantly, your innermost teammate is your spouse or your partner. And I got to tell you, you talk about deliberate planning and choosing wisely. Mark said he wrote down 266 traits he wanted in a spouse and partner. I mean, that may be a little excessive, maybe a little OCD, but I tell you what, he knew what he wanted and he waited till he found that right person. In this day and age where people are divorcing, we're up to like a 60 to 65% divorce rate. And you don't wonder why so many people are unhappy. Take that time, choose wisely. Finding the right person can totally make the difference in your life. You want to move the needle more? I tell you what, finding the right person is a huge needle mover. Invest in that, choose wisely, invest in those relationships, and watch it. Watch how successful you'll be, no different than Mark and Crystal. The next thing they started talking about was negativity and rejection. And this is a common theme. We hear it over and over again, and I guarantee almost everyone we have on this show is going to talk about the negativity, the adversity, those moments when they got on the X. And the Chicken Soup for the Soul book series, 500 million copies. You guys, I cannot stress to you how amazing this is. My book was a New York Times bestseller. I don't know what we're at, maybe 150,000 copies, maybe 200,000 copies. And that is doing very well. But when you talk about 1 million copies, and then, when you talk about 500 million copies, that is global impact. But at the beginning, when they first shot that book, 144 times rejected. So what are you going to do with that? You're just going to lay down? I mean, 144 is excessive. You know, but they did not back down. Success so often is determined by getting back up. You get knocked down, you get back up. That is the essence of the overcome mindset. And that is exactly how you move the needle. Slowly, surely, tiny little increments. But every time you get up, you build more resiliency within yourself. So many people can only get knocked down so many times until finally they don't get back up. Don't be one of those people, because if you don't get back up, your needle will not move. Needle movers always get up. Set those big goals. Be relentless going after them. Don't be afraid to ask for help along the way, but no matter what, focus on that. All right, guys, I'm going to close with their 2 words. I love them. Mark's word was enthusiasm. Crystal's word was truth. And I'll tell you what, with that combination in leadership, you know, This life is hard. Enthusiasm, positivity, your attitude, all of these things make the difference. What is enthusiasm? It is your ability to drive forward, to be relentless with your motivation. Think about people you've worked for that lacked enthusiasm, that were not proactive, that were not positive. Nobody looked forward to working for people like that. We want to work with people like that. And if you make yourself that way, it makes people want to follow you. And then Crystal's part about truth. I love this, man. First, there's truth in this life that we live as leaders. And I'll be honest, I made this mistake when I was younger as a leader, and I try very hard not to do it anymore. I try to be very careful with my words and not convey false hope to somebody or come across to somebody that I'm going to do something when I really don't want to do it, or maybe I don't think it's a good idea. I think there's a lot of people out there that do that. They just want to say something to make you feel good about yourself, but then it creates this false belief system. I now do my best to try and say no if I know I can't do something. I don't say yes. That is truth. That is honesty with the people around you, and it's being honest with yourselves, honest with what we need, what we want, and honest with the time we have to dedicate to a problem. So guys, be enthusiastic, be honest, be truthful with the people around you, guard your time, guard your talent, your treasure. And I tell you what, there will be more and more people that want to follow you and be a part of what you do because of your enthusiasm and truth. These things in this podcast, Mark and Crystal Hansen, so many lessons, smashing success with Chicken Soup for the Soul and their new book, Ask. So guys, follow these things. I guarantee you will move the needle in your life just a little more.